Good morning, children. We are moving to the next topic of the chapter control and coordination. And the topics for the day are neurotransmission and reflex action. In animals, such control and coordination are provided by nervous and muscular tissues, which we have studied in class 9th. Touching a hot object is an urgent and dangerous situation for us. We need to detect it and respond to it. How do we detect that we are touching a hot object? All information from our environment is detected by the specialized tips of some nerve cells. The receptors are usually located in our sense organs, such as inner ear, the nose, the tongue, and so on. So, gustatory receptors will detect the taste, while olfactory receptors will detect smell. The information acquired at the end of the dendritic tip of a nerve cell sets off a chemical reaction that creates an electrical impulse. This impulse travels from the dendrite to the cell body and then along the axon to its end. At the end of the axon, the electrical impulse sets off the release of some chemicals. These chemicals cross the gap or synapse and start a similar electrical impulse in a dendrite of the next neuron. This is a general scheme of how nervous impulse travels in the body. A similar synapse finally allows delivery of such impulses from neurons to other cells such as muscle cells or gland. You can see the structure of a neuron and neuromuscular junction. At the nerve ending, the electrical impulse sets off the release of chemicals. And synapse is the gap between two nerve cells across which impulses pass to reach the next nerve cell. The chemicals released at the nerve endings cross the synapse and start a similar electrical impulse in a dendrite of the next neuron, and the process goes on. It is thus no surprise that nervous tissues is made up of an organized network of nerve cells or neurons and is specialized for conducting information via electrical impulses from one part of the body to another. Points what we discussed till now are given in these slides. Reflex is a word we use very commonly when we talk about some sudden action in response to something in the environment. We say, I jumped out of the way of the bus reflexly, or I pulled my hand back from flame reflexly, or I was so hungry my mouth started watering reflexly. What exactly do we mean? A common idea in all such examples is that we do something without thinking about it or without feeling in control of our reactions. Yes, these are situations where we are responding with some action to changes in our environment. How is control and coordination achieved in such situations? Reflex action is the extremely quick, automatic, sudden action in response to something in the environment. Example, immediately pulling back of fingers after touching a hot plate. Closing of eyes when flashed with high intensity light, salivation of mouth when we are so hungry, etc. Here is another example for reflex action. Reflex arc is the pathway of nerve involved in reflex action. That is, the process of detecting the signal or the input and responding to it by an output action. And such connection is commonly called a reflex arc. Reflex arc involves receptors which receive the message from external environment, sensory neuron which carries the message from the receptor to the central nervous system, and central nervous system which process the message and send impulses to the concerned part of the body in the form of response, and motor neuron will carry the message from the central nervous system to the effector, and effector responses against the stimulus.